Welcome back to our podcast channel where we discuss everything sales. I'm your host, David Pera, and today I've got with me Steve. How are you doing, Steve? Good. So I think today the topic that we want to discuss, and I think it's going to be very relevant for us, is how technology has changed sales. And I think it is going to be very relevant because Steve's got the experience of what sales used to be like.
Yeah.
And you can actually talk us through the journey as how you've seen it change, and then I can add my little bit as the last little blip now. Talk us through when you were starting sales. How did you start? How did you do it? I mean,
Actually, you know what? In the old days, everything was about network, your personal network. The biggest value that a sales guy could bring to the party. Nowadays, it's changed. And you know why? Because the buying cycle has changed. In the old days, your buyer sat in his office and he had a stream of reps coming in and out, and so you are one of the guys. And you had your business card and you had what you were selling, and you made an appointment or not. Just arrived at the door, you know what I mean? I'm not joking when I say we used to be dropped off in an area. Like we got dropped off in Ascendo and you got told, right, you have to meet the transport back again at 3 o'clock. And you had to go and walk around Ascendo. I started off life selling laboratory equipment. And I promise you, true story, you walk into you arrive at a company, you say, listen, I'm here to see the laboratory manager. And they say, well, you can go through, it's Ian and he's in his laboratory, and you walk in there, true story, there's this guy sitting there and he's reading the newspaper and say, I'm Steve Clements and I'm, representing this company called whatever it was. And true story, the guy looks, he doesn't even put his newspaper down. He says, you know what? Fuck off, I don't see reps on a Thursday. Come back on Friday. You literally had to do door-to-door sales like that, and you built up you had your Rolodex with all your business cards, and you'd go through, because remember, we're talking pre-Google.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? That didn't exist. So
did you have a laptop when you started?
No, laptops only came into being 10 years into my sales life. So in the old days, even things like a quotation, you had to send a quotation down to the typing pool, and the typing ladies would type it all up. Then you'd bring it back up for corrections, and it would go back to the typing pool, and it'd come back. And that's the iterative process that you had just about preparing a quotation. So now think about how things have changed. In those days, it was the sales guy was the sales guy. Prospecting, lead generation, seeing the customer, presenting your product, doing the quotation, that was all handled by one person. It was the sales guy's job. Nowadays, we've refined it, and this is how the evolution has happened. So if you look away, think of how Braven operates now. We have data specialists, people whose job it is to make sure that we have the right guy in the right company that has the right designation, have his email address, have his telephone number, and we use that as part of our contact strategy. So it's about data. And so having a data person, those people didn't. Yellow pages, find the company, phone the switchboard, who's your lab manager? Oh, Gary, okay, can I please speak to Gary? Gary's secretary blocks you, or okay, you get through to Gary, please sir, can I come and make an appointment to come and see you? What about? Yes, it's relevant, cool, come and do it. You know what I mean? It was a very, very different world, a very manual world, I may say. So we had the data thing. Then you had nowadays we have people who set up the meeting. We had to do that.
Yeah.
You had to set up your own meetings, you know what I mean? Then you had to go and learn your product. So you had to know all the bits and pieces, file or book or whatever it is. And then along came PowerPoint, by the way. Two things that came along in one go. PowerPoint, so now we could present him something, which was a
very
quantum leap.
Yeah.
And the second thing is Word. The application called Word.
Yeah.
Pre that, you had to originate everything. Best case, you had a file that had some template quotes, and you could make the changes and send it down to the typing pool, and they'll change up your quote. The downside to that, by the way, is that with the advent of Word, is like proposals went from this much because everything had to be typed to suddenly this much, a little bit. So PowerPoint changed business development like you cannot believe. The second big thing was, as I said, was Word. Then there was the advent of the fax machine. So in the old days, how did you get the quote? You had to like either post it to the guy, or you had to jump in your car and actually go and drive there and go and drop it off and have a chat with the guy. That's how sales was done. Yeah, no such thing as email the quotes. Yeah. So the evolution of technology has simplified things, but also made it more complex. So because now we don't email a quote anymore. In fact, if one of my sales guys emails a quote, I want to have a heart attack.
We kind of reverted back to what it should be.
I'd
rather actually
spend time with
the
customer
face to face.
Oh. You know, the other thing that's changed is that we're able to preempt stuff. So we've developed what we call the salesman's toolbox. That is, think about this. So you go and take a quote and you email to the customer. He's your champion, but he's not the decision maker. So he's now got to go and sit down in front of the board and say, guys, I want to spend $1 million. And they say, okay, what's it going to do? Is this thing going to make us money, save us money, or is it going to keep us out of jail? Is it a compliance issue? No, well, you know what, this is about cost saving. Well, how much is going to save us? No, I don't know. Okay, listen, you need to go back and work, do the business case and come back. So we help our clients, so we help them build a business case. Next step, tell us what resources are required from IT. No, listen, I don't know. Okay, well, next time come back and tell us what resources. And so what we do is we create what we call a salesman's toolbox, and we go and sit with our client and go through all those different scenarios. You have the business case, you have the project plan, you have the resource requirement, you have some kind of a risk profile, and you have the license terms and conditions, and. So we now able to, so the level of sophistication in the sales process has become much more than was previously. Previously it was the guy got 3 little handwritten quotes, and based on those he went to his board and they made a decision. Nowadays, technology has complicated everything to the point of like ridiculous.
So do you find that sales, and I think easy is the right word, I think maybe less complicated, was it more about who you know? I think that's still very important nowadays, but what I find is who you know gets you into the door.
Yeah.
It doesn't get the same.
No, it doesn't.
So do you
that's changed.
So yes, it can get you into certain doors, but do you find who you know meant more then than it does now because of the advent of technology?
Definitely, relationships were much more critical. So yeah, we have a pointing question at the moment. Dave and I had a discussion yesterday about one of our suppliers who sells commodity items. We do almost like old school in terms of going to see the buyer, showing him what we have, look at our cool products and stuff like that. In parallel, the guy who's actually the manufacturer went and put up an e-commerce store. Well, he outsells on his e-commerce store, he outsells our sales team because that's how people buy. The buyers have changed. Buyers no longer see reps. If buyers want to buy something, they go online, they contact 3 companies, they do similar things, they get their 3 quotes, they get all the supporting documentation and the decisions made. The sales guys become less significant.
Yeah. Again, I think it's...
But it does depend on the products.
Yeah, it depends on the product.
Yeah. Very much so. If you're selling sophisticated software, you still need to go through the demos, presentations, help them with the business case, and. Commodity items.
Yeah, so the simplest
you're fighting an e-commerce store nowadays. That's our biggest competitors. It's not our competitors, it's our own company selling via online.
Yeah, it's ease of purchase. Yeah. Because if your business just goes online, orders everything that you get it next day. I mean, why is eBay take a lot? What's Amazon, all of them done so well is because of that.
Even think of, so if you differentiated tools from applications in our space, which is the technology space, tools should be sold online. You look in Europe nowadays, if you want to go and buy a process management tool, you want to go and buy a CRM system, a HR system, a payroll system, it's all online purchases nowadays.
I'll give you an example. So, I was looking at CRMs the other day. Pipe drive. There's no way to contact a salesperson. You have to, there's 4 or 5 steps that you need to take in order to get to a salesperson because they drive their sales purely online.
Absolutely.
Start the trial, and I think that's, to your point, there's certain industries that have just been rocked, products that have been rocked by technology, and it changes the way that you sell them.
Yeah. Absolutely. So that's where the difference though. If you've got a application,
yes,
and
you change the way
it's
business
very dependent on expertise in terms of implementation. SAP.
Yeah.
You try to implement SAP.
No, you're not buying SAP.
You're going to die.
No.
You're going to die.
You can't do that.
You need consulting, you need to have expertise, and 90% of companies don't have those internally. So you are reliant, and in fact, your decision making is 50% product, 50% partner, implementation specialist. Those are really those big differentiators. For the rest, it's like sales has become, you have a look at the sales numbers for online stores, it's extraordinary. And that's how people buy. I mean, you do need to differentiate as well between business to business and business to consumer. Yeah. Weirdly, old school, we like to still walk into the shop, try on the shoe, feel how it feels.
I don't even like buying stuff online. I'm not the biggest fan of buying stuff online.
Yeah, and yet you get people like, women who are happy to buy online dozens of pairs of shoes and
That's why I just sit back. That's why I still need to get used to that.
So funny little story quickly. So my daughter, she buys this pair she bought a product from one of these online stores, and the thing is that she gets this thing to say it's been delivered, but she never had it, and she's really feisty. And so the company, she gets hold of the company and they say, but you have to prove that you never got it. So she takes her hand like this, takes a photo and says, see, it's not here. Yeah, I love that. But that's the problem with these kind of things. You know what I mean? Buying online. Do you know that recently I wanted to buy a chainsaw? So, a chainsaw.
Yeah.
How many, probably 12 out of 20 products were not available in store, you had to buy it online. They don't even carry stock. That's how the buyer.
That's why it's got to change so much. Because I mean,
changed.
we've seen now, because we sell it, is like a vendor management system.
Oh.
The whole idea behind it is that you implement it so that it's easier to buy.
Yeah.
That you just go on there, you say what you want, the person goes on there, and it's done digitally. It's not.
Yeah.
You're never going to meet the rep.
No.
If you meet the rep, or if you meet someone, it's only once a year. That's it, maybe.
Yeah. So relationship setting has changed.
It's changed.
Significantly. The whole thing of playing golf and winding you down to your clients and stuff like that. Even in certain industries, it's not allowed. It's seen as perverse incentives.
You can't do it anymore.
Healthcare, for example, a pharmaceutical company is not allowed to even buy a guy a bottle of wine. It's not allowed to invite him to go to a conference.
Yeah.
Not allowed to do that because it's perverse incentives. So the life has sales changed. It's evolved dramatically. And so in order to keep up with that, you need to be looking at innovation. You look at Braven now to Braven 5 years ago, where previously it was about having a bunch of sales guys, giving them their targets and what go and do. Nowadays, it's become a science. It is a science.
No.
We go into so much detail about profile. So when we onboard a new supplier into our company, we do a thing called, we develop a playbook. It's a definition of your ideal customer, the market you're going into, who you're competing with, what is our sales process, and. In the old days, it wasn't that complicated. You know what I mean?
Just take it to market.
No, and by the way, it's become highly competitive. People are customers one click away from a deal and one click away from losing a deal. That's how fickle this whole thing and shallow has become. So if you're not top of game and you're not in that customer's face, you're not going to get the business.
I think that's where technology should come back into it, is that how do you leverage it? And I'm not just talking emails, I'm talking other things that you should leverage all the time to be in the customer's face. How can you be in their face all the time? This is what we do, this is how we do it, this is why we do it, this is why we're there. Okay, so I think, in summary, I'm going to try to summarize it because I think we could chat for a long time about this.
Very good.
Is data one of the big things that's affected lead generation, the sales cycle, the amount of decision makers, and the importance of network. I think that's going to be one that's, some people will go the other way, some people will go, we don't know how important network is.
So I think it is very product dependent.
Yeah.
If you're going to go and try and sell an enterprise system into larger financial institutions, the relationship dynamic is very, very important. By the way, the other thing is having a presence. Big companies are from big companies.
Yeah.
That's a fact. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, true. Or especially big, expensive products.
Yeah.
They'll buy from smaller companies, but expensive products they'll buy from big companies.
I agree.
Is how it is.
It is how it is. No.
Cool. Well, thanks, Steve. Thanks for joining us today. Thank you, Cass, for manning the camera. Till next time, guys.
Thanks, guys.